Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. Okay, I feel like they're telling me there's a few dots to be connected. So there's this like chronic fatigue syndrome going on, and it might be differential from what I'm talking about, so don't take my word for it. Sorry, my camera is just not that you really needed to see that scary hand. But anyway, so the narrative is that people are really tired, really exhausted, having issues with keeping up the 40-hour work week, slaving away, blah 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 blah. Now that, biology is going to do what it's going to do, but there is one thing that when you are detoxing from trauma, you will set into rest mode and make up for however many decades you were not allowed to do that. You will make up for that. And it's not anything to do with how horrible or lazy you are of a person, or how much nutrients you're not getting. Okay. It might be a little worse if you're ingesting a lot of toxins. It's organic coffee, but the creamer is bad. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're going through the detox. Figuring out why you're so fatigued, because it's not you. It's not. It's the trauma detoxing your system. So when you are not high off adrenaline and cortisol every single day, your body says, "Oh, we're safe now." It's been like a hot minute. I'm gonna go lay down now. Okay, so that's something that society does not seem to comprehend. It's just the way it works. You get up, and this is why so many people love perpetuating trauma in their narratives and in their everyday lives, is because it keeps people around them busy and working for them. Okay, it's to do with that, and whether they know it consciously or don't know it, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Okay, does not matter. I'm kind of tired of this. Well, they don't know what they're doing. It doesn't matter. The outcome is still going to be the same. Outcome is still the same. So until they are no longer doing that, you need to remove yourself from their presence. Otherwise, you're just going to keep putting more cortisol and adrenaline into your central nervous system and calling it life. Okay? That's it, and it's addictive. So many of us grew up in our environments witnessing and go, well, this is just, it works, so why are we not using it, I guess, right? This is how they've always done it. This is how we're going to continue to do it. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? So keeping that in mind, please and thank you. That, the person who is just so exhausted, and then we have a whole slew of children that do not want to do the work because, yeah, trauma's passed down. Generational trauma is passed down. And we have a whole slew of ignorant asshole teachers screaming at parents about the trauma they passed down that they don't comprehend. And it's like, this is biology. But it's not the biology that, you get in an institutionalized Nazi white coat camp. It's not. It is evolutionary. We hold our trauma in our body. What's his face? The body keeps score, dude. That guy. I think somebody wrote a book right before. that Gavin did not write. That's his name. No, that's not his name. I take that back. It's not his. Anyway, The Body Keeps Score, but there's another book that was like that, and I can't remember which one it is. I think it was written in the 70s. Okay, anyway. Either way, the body is keeping score. The body does regulate your emotions. So if you just let them sit there and go nowhere and blah, 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 not happiness, because it's going to start building up in the body, and there's only so much you can take, you know, and that's why getting to safety is so crucial when it comes to having this freedom from trauma. Let's start focusing on that. Freedom from trauma. It's really crucial. It's so important to get out of that mode right now, because you can make better decisions when your system is safe, when your central nervous system is not on overdrive. You can live a better life. You can stay calm no matter the circumstances. Level-headed, not losing your shit no matter what's going on, no matter who's trying to, punch your buttons and all that other shit. Okay? So crucial, so important. And then you get ignoramuses out there going, well, if you don't have any trauma, you're not going to be motivated to make any change. You're not going to be motivated to do that. You need the trauma to light the fire under your ass. No, dumb shit. We need to figure out how to light the fire in a calm, creative, safe manner that doesn't involve society poking us with a hot fucking iron stake. Oh. Boy, this is going to be a doozy. It's going to be difficult to get, especially the male population, out of that, like, warrior mode of, I'm going to keep stabbing it until it does something I want. Metaphorically. I'm going to keep poking it. I'm going to keep taking the stick and poking the bear and going, I don't understand. She never does what I want her to do. She's always so emotional. No shit, Sherlock. Thanks for playing. Your game is over. Okay. So, when you're going through the fatigue thing, magnesium's important. So that way you can nip the nutrients thing in the bud. Magnesium's a little transmitter herb. Mineral, I should say. That in herbology, everything's an herb. If it goes into the body, it's an herb. It doesn't matter if it's a tree, a shrub, or a mineral, it's all an herb. But for whatever sake, there's some... Anyway. The magnesium is the busing system of nutrients. So we intake nutrients, and if we don't get the magnesium to carry it where it needs to go in the body, it's going to get flushed out. And unfortunately, because those lovely little Nazi whitecoats love to poison everything, magnesium and B12, that energy vitamin, has been depleted out of our soil. Okay. Now, fear not. Mother always compensates. Mother always has a way. Like, you don't get to, like, jerk with mom and then not reap the rewards of jerking with mom. You feel me? Like, legit. Mom's pissed. Mom's reorganizing. And that's why they try to, like, put, like, frequency, energies, vibrations out that counter her frequency, energy, vibration, right? That's why they do that. That's why they do that, okay? That's why that's in place. That's why, You know, they fight so hard, spending billions and trillions of dollars fighting the natural habitats that we have. That's why they do that. They're not doing it to serve the earth. They're doing to try to control and manipulate it. Okay, so when we have this notion that some overseeing entity, hierarchical pattern, poison, is going out of its way to make sure that XYZ is happening and spending a lot of their money, what they perceive to be their money, but it's actually the taxpayers' money, on controlling, manipulating any sort of part of nature, like blocking the sun out. That's a thing now. Just in case you didn't know. Blocking the sun out, chemtrails, cloud seeding, blah, 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 blah. And what they're trying to do is prevent, because the sun itself is right now getting pissed off too. So the solar flares are getting larger and it's becoming a thing. So it's just... I want to say too that maybe be mindful of the solar flares, because a lot of times we'll get a flare and then you'll have like an adverse reaction. Some people, and it kind of depends on how your system is set up. Like if you have a lot of fire in your chart, you could get really souped up. If you have a lot of Leo placements, you could get really souped up and get a burst of energy. But if you're more like a water sign, you're like, oh, what the heck is this? This is like heavy. It's kind of sort of giving me a slight headache. I don't really want to eat anything today. What the fuck is going on? So, it hits everybody different. It hits everybody different. Earth signs, I am not sure what happens to you guys. You could have like a body temperature problem. Like you're feeling more hot than normal. Not like hot flashes, but like just naturally warm. Not like Kundalini warm where you can walk out in the snow in freaking sub-zero temperatures with bare feet. Not like that, but just, you know, like, you know, your normal attire all of a sudden is just a little too much. That kind of. And then air signs. Just make sure you get plenty of water. You feel dry. Yeah, just make sure, you know, you have something to drink. I mean, I'm not saying you have to have water. You don't have to have water, but just make sure you have something to drink at your side when there's going to be a giant solar flare, or when there has been. Okay? Because that way you're not freaking out over something that's just going to come and go. Okay? So that's super important. So don't... Aaron Resonance, I can't remember the channel. Aaron Conscious. I don't know, but she always has her screen like the long way, and she's always got the Schumann resonance pattern in the background. She's really good, and she always posts right away in the morning, at least here in the US. It's typically, you know, between 7 and noon that you'll get her video. What else? So rather than shaming yourself, blaming yourself, getting mad at yourself, Venus and Scorpio. Okay. Venus and Scorpio likes physical movement. That's one of the most important ways and my sun is on my Venus. So that's one of the most important ways for me to express myself is through physical movement. And I love gardening and whatever else. And when you're going through the detox and your system's like, okay, we're done. And you're like, but I want to go do that. And your system was like, good luck with that. So, and it comes and goes. So just maintain an equilibrium. Your body is recalibrating itself. So when, I made this huge mistake too, is when things started, kind of evening off a little bit, I would just heave ho for the whole day. I'm like, oh, thank God, my energy. Oh, okay. And then I would just way overdo it. Way overdo it like I was able to before. Just way overdo it. And, I'm like, I'm going to get this whole bed cleaned up in one freaking day. And it was not a small bed. And then I want to do this. And then I want to do that. And I would get done with like half the bed and be like, oh my God. It's not a getting older thing. It's my system is recalibrating. Out of slavery into, human. You're a human. You remember what that is? And my system's like a deer in headlights. No. Okay? So this is what we're trying to figure out right now. So anybody who's pushing hustle culture probably should have their larynx removed. Because it's causing more disease in everybody's body. Like they're literally like killing themselves off because all this energetic pattern stuff is because we're not only in the age of Aquarius, we are now in Pluto in Aquarius. Everything when it comes to, so people think like Pluto rules death and sex and rebirth, taxes, other people's money. And psychics. It's a little bit more than that. So between the death and rebirth, there's a life cycle. So that's what, and well, we can't talk about that. Nah, that's giving them way too much power. It's not that we control that, it's that we just oversee it. A lot of Scorpios you'll find are midwives and healers and things like that. We see the cycle of life, so we're a little bit more proficient on handling its transitions, transformations, and that, Scorpio starts as a Scorpio, goes to a white eagle, then goes to a phoenix. We know the transformation. And because society is so ignorant, it puts too much weight where it doesn't belong. Okay, that's just one little facet of living life. Then you've got the agricultural facet of life. Then you've got the cleaning up the environment. Then you've got the craftsmanship, the house building, whatever else. Everybody's got a freaking talent. Stop this whole nut job thing of trying to make something more powerful than the other. It's not. It's fucking not. There's shit I can't do. There's shit somebody else can't do, but can do way better stuff than I. You know what I mean? Like, we need to stop this hierarchy bullshit. We just let it go, because it's also draining our energy. Okay? So whatever it is you're doing in the world, whatever you love doing in the world, don't think you can never do it again. You're just going to have to regulate it. Again with itchy nose, kids. Okay. Regulate your time and your energy. Give yourself rest, because you are human. You're not slave. You are human. So, being kind and compassionate, fiercely compassionate with yourself. Okay, that's rule number 1. And when you're resting, no, you don't have to be reading a book. You don't have to be, crocheting or knitting or doing art when you're trying to rest. That's not resting. We do not have the appropriate response to the word rest. Rest means like you're not meditating, you're not working on a, excuse me, my goodness, you're not working on a breath pattern. I mean, that can help you relax, get into the state of relaxing, so I don't tell you not to do it at all, but make sure it's a relaxed breath state, like it's moving you into relaxation. You can listen to things like tones that are for resting. You don't want to be in there with like 369 hertz, you know, thinking you're going to have a joyful little nap. No, you're going to be tuned up, okay? So make sure that when you're listening to soothing, okay? Unless you're trying to get up from a nap. Then do the tuned up hertz, okay? When we have a rest period, it is the whole body relaxing. Nothing, get away from the S word. Nothing relax your whole entire body. Relax it. Just soothingly breathe into every area of tension as you lay down to rest and just release it. Everything in your body should be completely tenseless. Okay? Otherwise, newsflash, you're not in a state of rest. So that means what's happening is the body is not getting into a state where it can heal itself. Okay, this is why they just inundate you with trauma. Well, now you got to go see a Nazi white coat to get onto some prescription medication so they can parasite your bank account. Okay, that's how it works. I don't like it either. You can get pissed off all you want, saying my Uncle Joe was saved by blah blah blah. Okay, and how much money did he have to pay for that? When the system makes you sick, they should be paying for your health. Just saying. This is why every other country does it. America's so fucking dumb. We should be suing every single governmental system for poisoning the shit out of us and then making us pay to get healthy to boot. But we're kind of ka-chunk over here. Just my humble opinion. Okay, so can't imagine why the children are like, I don't really want to go to school. I think those people they're teaching me to be stupid. They know, dude. We are giving children not enough credit. They know. They freaking know what's happening to them. They know. Instinctively. The person at the front of the room not only doesn't have their own best interest at heart, but they're never going to be able to have mine. Because they bought into this shit system that they're trying to force me to be a slave in now. They don't... okay? So, it's biology, it's by default. You know, those, you know, I feel bad for those teachers because they're like, I just tried to do my job and I was told to shut the fuck up. Yep. You do need to quit your job. Absolutely. That is the universe speaking you, redirecting you in a different direction. And we have a really, I mean, okay, so I am not judging here because I have a really difficult time when the universe tells me you just need to go somewhere else. And I'm like, but I could do something really nice here. And the universe is like, I said no. And I was like, but, and the universe was like, fine. I'll cut off a metaphorical, emotional limb for you to make you go somewhere else. That's how the universe works. You either listen or you lose a limb, metaphorically. So, just be mindful of like that trap that they try to set to get you to struggle, to fight, and whatever else, because it's when you struggle and fight, it's actually taking away their karma because you're stepping in the pathway of it. Just get a redirection on. It's just a redirection. So if you, okay, so not a teacher or a nurse or any other DEI people, I can't do that anymore. So guess what? You get to be who you're meant to be in society, not what society tells you you have to be. Because if you hadn't noticed, society's not really in a good state right now, which means it's in need of things that it doesn't have access to. And no, it's not mental health care. It's not mental health care. It's human. They don't have access to human. They do not have access to human. They don't have it inside themselves. They don't have it outside themselves. They don't have any structure anywhere in their environment, including this Nazi white coat. I'm looking at you, psychology, that is going to be human. It's all about breaking down everything. It's all about just completely severing the person in teeny tiny little bitty parts and going, well, you know, because XYZ happened in your childhood, you're recreating that for yourself. Let that sink in. Let that sink all the way in. And then take that home from a mental health care professional who has dedicated their lives to telling you how shit works. So you are to blame for the shit that not only are you reproducing from childhood so you can heal from it, but you are not allowed, you're not able to see how the entire society is trauma-based. So even though you are busting ass to make sure that you're clean and clear of this trauma attract magnet, they will not tell you. They will, because I don't think they even have the fucking brains to know. I think it's been cooked out of them in the Nazi white coat institutions. They do not have the brains or the bronze or the anything or they're numb from the brain down, like Batty says. They don't tell you. The entire foundation for our societal existence is based on trauma. So how the fuck are you going to find anything outside of your own freaking house, which is got like you, a few critters, and one other person, that you are actively trying to get out of trauma mode as well? Hi. No one? No one. No one knows how to conduct themselves outside of trauma. This is why getting safe in the body is crucial. Is because once you do, the trauma just automatically falls off because you look at it like, oh, really sucks to be you. Like you just walk away and you never talk to that person again. And it's magical. Okay? It's fantastical. And you begin to just see the pattern play out right in front of you. You can just see it. It's like a matrix thing, except for it's not green. It's like Easter colored M&Ms falling. I think. Maybe. Like little sigils and shit inside of it. Okay, anyway. That is what you look for. And when you get safe in the body, you can look for that. Yeah, and then you just have to be, really diligent that like the pieces and parts that have to be dealt with out in society are, and it sucks because you are now recreating that pattern because you are dividing people into pieces and parts just to survive. And that's how they want it. That's how they get so many Agent Smiths. Because, like, that's not a whole person. I just use them for this, that, and the other thing. Oh, it's so fucking bad. Okay, so getting safe in the body. That's gonna counteract that. Okay, you just need to, and then once that happens, everything else rises. Your intuition will actually come on board. You need to be careful about people who tell you they have an intuition or they have a particular thing, because if they don't, the central nervous system has to be at least accessible to them in a controllable way, or they're not using their intuition and there's something else there. And you need to be diligent about that. You need to be vigilant about who you're listening to and whatever else. It needs to be a thing. So, oftentimes when we have patterns of that in our history that we haven't quite dealt with on the outside world yet, the universe will bring them to you and be like, did you learn it yet? They'll be like the devil holding up the torch. Did you learn this lesson yet? Did you really look at this? Okay? And again, the devil's not a bad character. He's asking you to look where your central nervous system might still have a fucking kink in the armor. Okay? That's all the devil, the jinn, the whatever the hell the Abrahamics call it. That's all it's there for. Do you still have a kink in your armor? This is just an energetic pattern that has to show up in order for us to get the lesson straight. It has to show up. If it doesn't show up, we're going to step in it in the naivete pattern, and then you're going to repeat the pattern. So it has to show up. So rather than demonizing the human being that's standing in front of you, giving you the lesson or giving you the example that you needed to see, just say, hey, thanks for your whatever, toodaloo. But we don't have the emotional maturity or any sort of construct outside of some toxic religious narrative that's going to give us the power to do that. So what does it do? It escalates. Yeah. Safe in the body. Tune into your central nervous system. Just tune it in. Get some somatic in there. Talk to it. Talk to it. Breathe through it. Realize the only time somebody has power over you is the moment you give it away. The moment you give it away. It's a tough pill to swallow. And it's so multi-layered that you have to really sit with it. And that's one thing we can do when we're in our fatigue. Okay? Is really sift through all of that in a restful moment.